Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me here on another episode of The Debrief, where we like to talk about this week's episode of Bad Batch. Specifically, we are running Season 2 here, and today we're going to talk about Season 2, Episode 11, Metamorphosis. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that your Friday afternoon is going on just super awesome, okay? As you can see, we're trying out a little bit new setup here. Let me know what you guys think about the lighting. Just always trying to improve, always trying out new things. So let me know how this looks like. Um, we actually had a pretty good show, okay? And today we got actually a guest. That's right. We got somebody that still watches Bad Batch just like I do. Can you believe that? Kind of crazy, right? And so let's, without further ado, because we do have a lot to talk about on this episode, let's bring in today's guest, who is no stranger here to the bunker, friend of the channel, amazing content creator, especially if you like Star Wars like we do around here. Let's bring in Brett from Collecting with Cool. What is going on, brother?
What's up? Am I coming through?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you so much
I'm
for
trying a
joining
new
us, man.
setup today too.
I noticed, yeah. It's a day of first.
Yeah.
And I really liking what you're doing with your details, man. By the way, good job putting those together, first of all.
Thank
and good job integrating those into your setup. I think they look just badass. Yeah, absolutely. There you
It's
go.
about those guys today.
Yes.
So
Good job. I know that fairly recently you got the Hunter finally, right? For
right
Black
here,
Series. So here.
Yeah, he took me a few months to get. It's kind of dark right here, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Good figure, man.
I like what does Sid call him? Bandana.
Bandana. Yeah, exactly.
She said, "Settle down, bandana."
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
There you go. I actually think they did a good job with those. For the most part, those
Definitely.
figures look pretty good. A little bit surprising that they actually went, as high as they did, in price. But
yeah, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. It got kind of crazy. I think I saw it up to like $100 at some point. So if this is your first time here on the debrief, we basically focus on the episode of the Bad Batch that happened this week. And again, we are running season 2 right now, and this week's episode is called Metamorphosis, and it's episode 11 of the second season. So we only got a few left this season. And I'm not gonna blame you if you forgot about Bad Batch, because this week we also got the return of The Mandalorian for its third season. So most of the spotlight has definitely been going on to that. But I have to say, this week's episode was actually really good for Bad Batch. So I wanted to show it some love, and come back here to the debrief and do a quick deep dive. A little bit of housekeeping. I know that I owe you guys an episode for last week. I'm sorry, just work and life just got out of hand. And I honestly just the weekend came and went, and I didn't do one. So what I think I'm gonna do is just do a quick pre-recorded video, and I'll drop it in place of the 7th episode of the debrief here. So we'll cover episode 10 in that pre-recorded episode, just so that we sort of keep the ball rolling. Let me go real quick to the chat here. We already got some people. Duffman Dioramas, what is going on, man? Thank you so much for being here. Saying hi to Brett. Absolutely.
JD, what's up?
What's going on, Tony? Thank you so much for stopping by, brother. I saw some of your live shows. Sorry I missed it yesterday, because I've been running around, as I'm sure most of us here in the Star Wars community have been doing this week. It's been kind of crazy. JD says, hello all, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here. LeBron Fett. So LeBron was actually in a stream that I was a guest on last night, and he won the giveaway. So by elimination wheel, the last man standing was LeBron Fett. So congratulations on that. Saying hi to each other. Love it. Okay. So usually the structure around here on the debrief is we'll go very quickly through the episode, right? Don't worry, we're not going to watch the whole thing. But I do highly suggest you watch this week's, okay? This week's was pretty good. So we're going to go real quick through the episode. I'm just going to do like a quick recount of the whole thing. And then we'll go ahead, take a little bit of a deeper dive. You'll let us know what you noticed. We'll exchange, if we saw some Easter eggs and things like that. We know there's a very straightforward connection, right, from this one to the Clone Wars. So we'll definitely talk about that. And I want to get your opinion on what do you think this sort of means, right, for the show, for the story? So let me cue up here the video, and don't worry, guys. I'll try to keep it very brief because we already got in trouble with the mouse a couple weeks back. Um, so here we go. So this is the episode, Bad Batch, season 2, episode 11, Metamorphosis, and we open up on a really cool scene that I just gotta play here for like 2 seconds. Look at that! How cool is that? Ship exiting hyperspace, like all messed up, right? I thought that this scene was pretty cool, and I don't know that we've actually seen these, many times before. Um, I know that it has happened, in the story, but I thought this was a really cool opening scene. And then we get a look at the inside of the ship, right? Alarms blaring, something's definitely not right. And then we see this guy, and this set off the tone for me right here.
Yeah.
Because first of all, as I'm sure you guys know, this right here is a clone commando, right? These dudes are like top tier army of
Yeah.
the republic, right? These dudes are like one man army type of thing, right? I mean, these guys are as good as it gets when it comes to soldiers. And lo and behold, he's actually running away, and
Yeah.
he's kind of scared, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like panting, he's just like tripping over stuff. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What can get a clone commander this scared, Like right off the bat, I was like, wow, okay, you got my attention, First few seconds of the episode, I'm already like, okay, I'm kind of all in. And so, you see him looking around, grabbing that electro staff for dear life, like that's the only thing that's gonna keep him safe. Um, and again, guys, these guys are like super highly trained soldiers, right? They're the elite, really. They're like the Navy SEALs, basically, of the clones, right? And you see him like just around, and then all of a sudden he's gone, right? Then, of course, we get to Mount Tantis, which super cool to see it again. About time that we get back to this, because if you guys don't remember, so this is more or less linked to the Empire's cloning efforts, right? And we still don't have very much information on it. We saw it in season 1, and here we have it finally again in season 2. And we see some ships come in, and we see one of the ships that looks just like the one we just saw, all messed up, right? But this one's fine. So we see some shuttles. We see one of the doctors come out, and if you notice, they got just a bunch of clone commandos, which I was actually surprised. I don't know about you, but I was surprised at the quantity
Yeah.
of clone commandos that these guys had.
I was wondering where they've been.
Right? I mean, where were these guys during the
Yeah.
war?
Yeah.
And so we see, character and doctor come in and being greeted, all the formalities and everything. And he proceeds to say, you know what, unload everything. We got to get started, etc., etc. Then he goes and visits Mrs. Kaminoan here, which, if you guys don't remember, she's the one that was basically hanging out with Omega, right, all the time.
Yeah. That's Nala.
Exactly,
Say.
Nala Say.
Yeah.
So she is basically the cloning expert, right, for the Kaminoans. So as you know, the Kaminoans were known to be cloners, but within all of those guys, she's basically like, again, like the top scientist, right? So the Empire captured her and took her off planet before they destroyed Camino, right, in the previous season finale, sorry, of season 1. So he's talking to her, basically saying, "Hey, I kind of need your help, right? Like you're very talented, you got a lot of knowledge. Let's work together and figure this thing out instead of you just sitting here and dying." And she basically says, "Why should I help you? Like you basically wiped out my race, my planet, my civilization. I don't really feel like inclined to help you guys." And he's like, "Well, there are worse things than just being locked up in a cell, so don't
Yeah.
make me like get creative." Which is like, okay, I don't, she's like, I don't want to be a part of this. And he says, this is all serving a higher purpose, but he says it's the emperor's purpose, right? Which I found to be, of course, a little bit foreshadowing to what we know comes way in the future, which is a Palpatine clone, right? So I'm assuming they're alluding to that.
Yeah, it's
But
got to be.
so we keep going. Of course, she refuses. Um, the doctor orders the prime minister uh, of Camino, who is under house arrest in Coruscant, right? One of the few Caminoans that are left, to be brought into Mount Tantus, right, to this lab. So that happens. Fast forward, and we get our boys, right? So we got the Bad Batch traveling to hyperspace in the Havoc Marauder, and they're talking to Sid, right? Lo and behold, right? No surprise there. And Sid is basically saying, "Hey guys, I got some, hot off the press intel about a possible damaged ship that we can go and salvage, right? Some stuff from. So, you guys gotta hurry because I don't want, anybody else to beat us to the punch. And you guys gotta basically pillage this whatever ship, it is for parts or cargo or whatever it is, just go get it." And I actually like this here because they finally started deviating a little bit from the formula. They're actually like, "Hey, you left us stranded." Omega was like, "Hey, you left us abandoned in that planet. You didn't help us, right?" And that planet I'm talking about, the mining planet that we saw the previous two episodes to this. So if you guys haven't seen that, the gist of it is uh, Sid sends them on a mission to check out a mine. The Bad Batch gets the Havoc Marauder, their ship stolen, and so they're stranded in the planet. They call Sid for help, and Sid's like, "Yeah, no can do. I'm kind of busy, right? You guys are gonna have to figure it out." And they're like, "Hey, man, like we don't even have enough food to last us like a long time." And she's like, "Well, let me see what I can do. Hang out for a few days." And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like days? We got maybe hours, right?" And so the end of it all is that they basically get themselves out of the jam, right? They recover the ship, etc., etc. No help whatsoever from Sid. And so they're actually, they are actually calling her out on this episode, and they're like, "Hey, you pretty much left us to die. Like, why should we even keep working with you?" And she's like, don't, she kind of brushes it off, don't be crybabies, right? Like, you guys are fine. You got your ship. What are you complaining about? Go do this job. Get me some money, and you get yourself some money. And she's like, "Just to show you that I'm, a good person, we'll do 35% your cut and the rest for me." And they're not buying it, right? She's like, right, fine, 40. And they're like, "Yeah, no." And they're like, "Okay, 50. Okay, like that's it. Like, I'm not gonna give you any more. Just go do this. I'll send you the coordinates." So of course, the Bad Batch is basically talking amongst themselves, saying, "Hey, do we really want this? Like, do we still want to work with her?" And so you start to see some of the cracks, right? Start to see some of it. You know what? We're not just gonna blindly follow her anymore. Like, this has not been working out. When we needed her, she basically bailed out on us. So we maybe want to think about not working for her. How about we go do this as a last mission, and then we get some money and we get out. So of course they show up to this planet where the ship has crashed near a village. So they start making their way to the ship. As you can see here, it's busted up. It's forced landing. They of course get in and start noticing some unusual stuff, right? Like not just blaster marks, but like claw marks. And Hunter says, whatever did this was not human. So Tech goes to the bridge, try to get some intel, right, of what's going on. They separate. The rest of them keep going to the cargo hold to see what goodies they can find to steal. And they notice this basically like a huge cage, right? And they're like, "Whoa, what were they hauling, right? Like what was meant to be transported here?" Um, and so they start trying to get some information, and then we see this guy here, a creature, right? And I got sort of like chameleon vibes out of it, like the way it was moving and the way it is shaped. Let me see if I can get a better frame of it right there. So that thing shows up, not pretty at all. Uh, they're freaking out as, okay, what is this, right? And mind you, the Bad Batch, they've been around the galaxy, okay, once or twice, right? So they've seen plenty. So for them to not, know what this creature is, that kind of tells you that it's something rare and special. Very aggressive, of course. I kind of do like the so for me personally, this is a little bit of a callback to the alien xenomorph.
Yeah.
We don't see any eyes, right? And we have sort of like the dome, big forehead, and we got the teeth, of course, right? So very prominently. But like I said, the body to me is more of a sort of like a chameleon shape of body with a big head, right, and smaller body. Um, and so this thing, is obviously very aggressive. It's jumping around all everywhere, and Tech manages to get the lights on, and this thing is jumping all around, trying to attack them. They ward it off with blasters, but blasters are not really hurting it. And it decides to go to the main power coils, right? The main power couplings of the ship. And it's just basically stays there. And lo and behold, it starts absorbing the energy and it actually starts to morph, right? Hence the name, metamorphosis. So it starts to change its body. So they're pretty surprised about that. They managed to cut off the power supply. And so the thing escapes, the ship, runs into the woods, seemingly attracted to power, right? So they realize that it's heading for the village, right? It's heading for the nearby village. They, of course, this village right here that you see in the mountains. So Hunter and Wrecker get onto the ship and try to find it and stop it before he can reach them, which they don't really do. The Tech and Omega stay behind to try to find some information on just what the hell this thing is, right? And finally, they they identify a couple of things here. First of all, Omega. Remember that Omega in season one, she is very how do I call it? She hangs out a lot in Nalasei's lab, right? The cloning lab. So she almost immediately identifies some of the cloning technology, right? Kaminoan cloning technology in the ship, and then they actually come to a pretty cool realization here that whatever the Empire was doing with cloning or is still doing was actually not happening in Camino. It seems like they were trying to do it off Camino, right? And they're like, hey, you know what? I think they destroyed the planet Camino not to erase cloning, but to control it, right? They're like, no, we got the technology now, and we got the few experts that are left, so we're gonna eliminate everything else. So we see the beast come up to the power plant basically of that village and just starts going crazy, feeding off of the electricity. Um, Tech finds information regarding the genetic material of the creature. So basically, they're trying to weaponize it, and he passes along the information. It's like, hey guys, get it off that power grid because this thing's gonna keep growing. Of course, by the time he says this, it's too late, and lo and behold, we got a familiar shape, and it's nothing
Things
else.
like Mothra.
Exactly. So we got ourselves a Silo Beast. Okay, and in case you guys don't remember this, this creature has appeared before in Clone Wars all the way back to season 2, I believe, if I remember correctly. Um, this is basically like like a giant, yeah, you could call it Godzilla type of creature that like a kaiju. But what was very important for this creature is that it was actually resistant to pretty much everything, right? It took a lot for them to take it down, and by take it down, I mean they just put it to sleep. They didn't even manage to like kill it. They got ships. They hit it with electricity, which only made it bigger. They hit it with lightsabers, right? And this thing resisted that. Like its skin is I guess tough enough to withstand lightsabers. So that's when Palpatine was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I kind of like this thing, right?" So during those episodes in the Clone Wars, he actually manages to capture the beast and take it away. We don't know where, and we actually never know what happened to it, right? So here we get to see that the smaller creature was in reality a Silo beast in its earlier form, right? When it was like a baby, let's say. So again, the Silo Beast, right, is trying to feed off. The Bad Batch is trying to remove it so it doesn't get any bigger. But we get Imperial forces on the scene, and they basically start both attacking the Silo Beast and the 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 Bad Batch ship as well, right? They start being pursued. So they show up with this special ray that's about the only thing that can hurt it, and they start, trying to take it down. And then I thought this was pretty interesting because some of the Imperial shuttles head directly for the village, right? And what they do is they start rounding up the villagers. So they capture the Silo Beast, they put it into another cage, take it away, but then the the Imperial shuttles, right, basically round up everybody in the village and starts loading them up to those shuttles. And again, just look at how many clone commandos we got now. Like that's kind of a lot. Um, and so the Bad Batch, of course, manages to get away. They realize that this is the same beast that attacked Coruscant during the war, and Hunter says, "You know what? I'm not sure what these guys are doing. Right? Like I don't like it. Do me a favor and send this information to Rex and Echo. Right? Let's see what they can learn about it." So we get back to Mount Tantis, and the Doctor finally gets his guest, which is the Prime Minister, right, from Camino, and he's like, "Hey, man, I need your help motivating Nala Se, right? I need her help. We need to get this back on track. So you got to tell me why, like, you got to tell me how I can push her buttons." And he's like, "Well, why should I help you?" Same thing, right? He says, basically, I can set you free. And he's like, "You know what? I think I can help you." And he says right here, the key to getting Nalase to collaborate is a particular clone that you gotta locate, a female clone, right? So obviously we are talking about Omega, and the good doctor is like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. Tell me more," right? And so that's basically where we left off for this episode. All right. So overall thoughts on this episode? What you think?
I think this episode is a bigger turning point in the story than we're ready than we expect.
Right.
So if I can go backwards from where you just left off, when they leave it on that ominous tone, like
Yeah.
we're going to go after Omega now, knowing what they want to do, think about where our heroes are. They're spread thin, man. They're
Oh yeah.
missing. They're a man down. Actually, they're two men down. You got Crosshair running around. You can tell he's constantly battling something. Then
Yes.
you've got Echo's gone. And Hunter said something like you said when they were leaving. He said, "Make sure to get that information to Echo and Rex." So, does this mean that maybe Rex will come with them and be part of them to take Crosshair's place for a little while? I don't know about that, but I feel like they're setting this up to go to a much darker place, you know, because they are right now, in my opinion, they are ripe to be picked to have Omega picked off and taken from them. Like they're not, they're men, they're spread thin, they're men short, they're running out of supplies. Sid's not really, helping them out. It's all about the treasure hunts and stuff. So it's like, meanwhile, all these other forces, like think about it, they go on this mission and just happen to bump into this huge Empire presence, right? And the the equipment. When she noticed the equipment, that's the first thing I thought was the what did you call it? Not the Cenobite, but it just seemed like it was it could have been a clone, and they
Right.
successfully did it. So then later on, when he's telling what's his name, I got it right here. Hemlock is
Yes.
telling
Dr.
her, that,
Hemlock.
how can I get Nala Se to work with me? And she's saying, go get Omega, and she'll do what you want.
Right. Basically,
And
yeah.
then she says, I know what the Emperor wants. The Emperor he
Yeah.
wants to be able to clone himself
Oh
or
yeah.
clone other Sith,
Right.
something. Maybe it's not even to that point yet. Maybe he just wants, there's stuff that he knows that we don't know yet that they could pull
Absolutely.
out, books and things he's found. Um, what was it? And was it Rebels? near the end of Rebels, it was a lot about special places that had knowledge, had the what was the storyline where Ezra and Darth Maul both came together in their minds or whatever. There's all these
Yes.
things with these holocrons and stuff. So this could be something they're going to reveal to make this all go much darker than just trying to clone the Emperor.
Yep.
He could
Which,
very well pull it off, and that could be these troopers we see. I mean,
yeah,
we don't know.
which
So
honestly, I'm kind of hoping for. I'm down
yeah,
for a darker tone on this. Um, because we kind of got teased right at the beginning of the season 2, that second episode. We saw Rampart, Vice Admiral Rampart, just basically off a clone, a clone
yeah,
commander, just
yeah,
because he wouldn't alter a report, right? So I was like, whoa, these
right,
guys are going dark, right? Like these guys
yep,
are going deeper into the brutality of the Empire. And
right,
then we kind of got, what we got, which is sort of lukewarm at best into that respect. But now, right, again, we're back on track. And I'm loving this episode on a couple of levels, actually. One, visually, I keep saying it every episode, but it's true every episode. Visually, the show looks amazing. Okay, it looks very, very pretty. The details on the animation have improved, consistently, I would say. Like I said, that opening shot of the ship with, all messed up, like out of
yeah,
hyperspace, I love that. I don't know why, like that just stood out to me so much. And then the tone of the episode, like when they're sort of, going into the darker, like, and I mean, like the setting is darker, right? Like there's not
yeah,
much
yeah,
light. You have the clone commander, the clone commando, sorry,
yeah.
running around all scared. Like I really
Right.
like how they
I
were
thought I
setting the
thought a
tone,
I thought a Jedi or a Sith would have been after him.
right? I was
You
gonna
know.
say, like, these dudes, they don't get scared with anything, right?
Right.
Again, they're top tier soldiers. And so I really like that. I really like the way the Bad Batch, was moving around to all of the little, like, quote unquote horror elements, right, that they were
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah.
in. Like the messed up droid that I forgot to show, just comes
Oh
out and
yeah.
just says like, "Oh, danger, danger," and like bleh,
Right.
like
Right.
kills over.
Yeah.
And so all of that kind of like atmosphere that they were setting up, I actually really enjoyed that part. Um, of course, the Bad Batch seems to work best when it can connect directly to the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
Because again, these are still clones. They participated in the Clone Wars, all of that stuff. So it's sort of ingrained. But I feel that they haven't been, how can I say this? Maybe embracing that as much this season. And so when they do, I feel that's when the episodes shine, right? Like when this show
Yeah.
does its best. We saw it with the episode with Cody, of course. We saw it when the Senate, bringing up, the vote to phase out the clone troopers. Again, all of that kind of stuff, right? So I really like this episode for that. Uh, it has a lot of ramifications, like you just said, right? It seems like if this is actually a clone of the Silo Beast, oh man, that means that they
Right.
got way like
Well.
very into the research, right? Like
Yeah. But
they're doing like quite a bit.
think of the desperation now, because
Exactly.
if that was all the equipment that they had from Camino, now they're down. They had two. Now they have one. Right.
Yes.
So now
Very
they're going
true.
to get even more desperate. So that's why this dude's going as far as to kidnap kids
Yes.
and do who knows what. So my idea at the end of last season was that Crosshair will somehow get back in with these guys, redeem himself, save
Right.
someone, do something, maybe even sacrifice himself. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it really made a lot of sense that if the Empire goes after and successfully captures Omega,
Yeah.
she is the one that got through to Crosshair when he
Yeah.
was, having his moment with the chip and everything. And I feel like, he's going to be pulled up. They're
Yeah.
going to say,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
we are called up. They're going to say, hey, we need you to go help. We got an asset we're trying to go after. And then he's going to
Exactly.
realize, oh man, I'm going up against my
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
This ain't going to be easy. And
Agreed.
and maybe maybe he will take her, but then at the same time, maybe he'll be the one to save her. But I don't know. We got
Yeah.
quite a few episodes to go.
Yeah. We still got what is it? 4 episodes, 5 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
Left in
I'm
this
really
season.
surprised. I'm really surprised how it worked out that they're crossing, during the same weeks for a while,
Yeah.
because they haven't done that yet. This is the
No.
first. So
I
it's
was gonna say,
interesting.
so this week and going forward, the next 4 or 5 weeks, Star Wars fans are gonna be busy, right? We're gonna be
Oh
having
yeah,
both Mandalorian and Bad Batch on the same day, mind you,
I
new
know it.
episodes, right? So I'm loving it. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm here for it for sure. But it is busy. That's for sure. But I like this kind of busy. Um,
yeah,
I have to say this episode reinvigorated me with this show
definitely,
because I don't
definitely.
know about you, and again, guys, I know I owe you an episode for the previous week, and I'll get to that. But all I can say is that that episode like brought me down, like, and I don't mean depressed. I just mean like I was not enjoying it that much, right? Like it was just like
Yeah,
meh,
yeah,
more of the same, right? Like I'm kind of done with this. But then we get this episode, and I was like, whoa, like this is what they should be doing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know about you. I feel that we're getting, what is it, a total of like 15, 16 episodes, I forget right now.
I think so.
um
Yeah,
I feel that if maybe we would have cut those in half and we would have had like the really good episodes we've gotten so far, then this season would have
yeah,
been fire, right? Like this,
yeah,
it would
yep.
have been like amazing.
Like that third episode.
Yeah, exactly. If you put
Yeah,
together, that second episode, I actually enjoyed the ending. That third episode was just incredible.
yep,
That two-part episode, right, about the Senate and the cloning and all of that, that was incredible, man. That was some of the best like storytelling we've gotten in a while.
yeah,
So imagine just seeing those like back to back, right? Like that's all you get, and I'm like, whoa, like that would have been pretty impressive, right? Unfortunately, we've had quite a bit of fillers, so I'm kind of done. So I'm hoping,
yeah,
really, really hoping here that the remaining episodes in this season are story driven, right? I really hope they start pushing whatever it is, whatever end game is at the end of the season, right? And like you said, I agree completely. More than likely, we're gonna see Crosshair go after these guys, right? So
yeah.
are we gonna get a daring rescue mission at the end of this season, right? Hey, we gotta go get Omega out of
Right, right.
Mount Tantis, right? Like the cloning, the cloning
Yeah.
lab. Um,
I
and
mean, that stuff makes sense, you know.
yeah, yeah, which they've kind of they've been there before, so they would feel comfortable
Yeah,
trying it again. But I would think it's like, hey man, you know what? It's only three of us. We can't pull it off on our own.
right.
Call anybody that is a friend to us, right? Call Rex, call Echo, see if they got any friends that can help us out. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited at the possibility of maybe Ahsoka, something like
Yeah,
that, right? That they bring in some extra muscle for that last mission.
right. Yeah,
And I agree completely with you. I think Crosshair is either gonna sacrifice himself, right, or just flat out defect and go with these guys, right, and join the
yeah.
Bad Batch again.
It's
Um,
just a matter of when, you know.
exactly. Yeah, I agree. You start to see the cracks right in the previous episodes. Let me catch up here
Yeah.
with the chat real quick. LeBron
Okay.
says, "I want a vodka holder from Brett."
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah.
nice. That's
Well,
awesome.
he said it was vodka. It was a shower beer holder, but okay.
There you go. Hey, it'll work. What is going on, Mark? Thank you so much for being here. JD saying hi. What is going on? Thank you. Collection Reflection. Thank you so much for joining us,
What's
man. I
up,
appreciate you. Yes, baby Silo Beast, which is still kind of terrifying.
Zillow Beast? Yeah.
Home dude, what is going on, man? Thank you
I
so much for
mean,
being here.
think about it, man. If he could clone those successfully over and over,
Oh, yeah, imagine if you
just
can
send them
weaponize
in.
it somehow. Yeah, just
They turn
level the
into these
planet, man.
giant. I mean, the thing could. I mean, could it fly, or was it just adept
Um,
at climbing and
I
everything? You
think,
know,
yeah, I
so
think it was
it's going to
just
get bigger and bigger just to be a planet destroyer.
exactly.
You know.
Dr. Hemlock, Nate, after a poisonous plant. Ah,
Yeah,
interesting. Very
hemlock.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pablo, what is going on, man? Thanks so much for being here. That's basically what it means, brother. So, Star Wars Sith, Anthony actually stayed up to watch Mando premiere at 3 o'clock. And not only that, he filmed himself, edited the video, and uploaded it by like 4 in the morning. So
Oh
my
man.
man's kind of crazy, all right? My head's off to you, brother, on that. Saying hi. Hey, what is up, Easy? Thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate you guys.
You see what's up?
Um, so yeah, guys, just a reminder, we try to keep this stream kind of short. We don't have to go too long. But again, anything else that maybe stood out to you? Again, there's a lot of good things on this episode. Both, like we said, the visuals on it, I really liked. The story of it, I really, really liked,
Yeah.
and the implications, right, for the future. I think that's what I how can I say this? I think that's what I savored the most out of this, because the previous episodes, let's be honest, they weren't going anywhere, right? You knew, oh, first episode we get our ship stolen. Guess what's gonna happen in the second episode? We're gonna get it back,
We're gonna
right?
get back. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
it, right? We move on. Like
Right.
no development of the story any further than that, right? So anything
Yeah.
else that you want to bring up to the attention of the chat here, or anything that you noticed that maybe
Just
we missed?
it just has a it just there's a setup for a very ominous tone. A very dark set of events are about to take place. I
Yeah,
mean, they're coming after Omega. That was
yeah,
clearly stated, and we have,
yes,
like you said, 4 or 5 episodes left.
yeah,
Um, so some things are going to pick up. It's going to pick up, and um, it's going to be where maybe we'll see the plan. Obviously, we're thinking that it's the Emperor for him, but maybe the plan is to have those beasts like an army.
right,
If I can't have an army of clones anymore because now he switched it over to conscripts,
yeah,
then I'll create an army of these beasts,
yeah.
and I'll just need
Imagine,
some
yeah,
creature handlers, or we just set the little baby loose,
yeah,
and we wait about 3 days, and we
yeah,
walk in and just take what we want, right?
exactly.
So then maybe something will mess that up, and then it'll become, well, I know one, he'll be looking in a book, or you'll just see maybe one scene with him talking to somebody and be like,
Yeah,
listen, here's what we can do, because
absolutely.
then also, I mean, maybe it's going to tie into Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess. So, what about Snoke?
right.
Is Snoke going to be in this, or is Snoke going to be over in Mandalorian? We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know. This is so. This is going to be what this timeline is before the events of the sequel trilogy.
correct.
So they could play around with those
Yeah,
those things here.
yeah,
Even
absolutely. I mean, this is even before the original trilogy, right? Um,
yeah,
so we still got plenty of time, to catch up to from
right,
here to the
right,
First Order. We got, I don't know, what is it like, blanking out right now, but maybe like 40 years, maybe no more than that, I think. So it's a good while, right? It's a good chunk of time.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, absolutely. I think I hope that you're right. Actually, I really hope that these next episodes, give us some of that. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, you know what? I'm kind of done with fillers. I will say that. Okay, we only got a handful of episodes left. This episode, like you said, very foreboding, very ominous. It shows us
yeah,
what can happen, and I hope that it does happen, right? And I hope that we do lean more into this darker like storyline, right? Like
yeah.
you said, I
And it
want
all
to
and it all it all involves clones and
exactly,
cloning.
yeah,
So why not keep doing that? So
exactly,
maybe this is where we find a young Snoke, or
yeah,
5 young Snokes, or
right,
whatever,
right, yeah, absolutely.
Or
With it,
I do think that they're going to give us a few more surprises. I hope anyway that we get a few more surprises. I always keep my fingers crossed
yeah,
that I'm gonna see Mace Windu again someday. But
yeah.
uh,
There's that.
but seriously, like, I don't know. I'm like you. Like, why does it take? I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we're impatient as fans.
Yeah, and I get that, but when you see that this is the spiritual heir to the Clone Wars, right? A
Yeah,
show
yeah, yeah,
beloved by pretty much everybody, that gave us just those last, what I would say, those last 3 seasons, right? Like season 5, which was still aired on TV, season 6, which was released on Netflix, I think, back in the day, and then season 7 when they finally came back, right? And
yeah,
those seasons were incredible, right? Like those, I don't think there's necessarily a bad episode there. Some of the filler, with the sisters and stuff, I
yeah,
didn't care for too
yeah.
much for, but overall, I mean, the stories were incredible. And then we get this, right? So let me last question for you, and I just want to get your opinion on this. Let's say all of the remaining episodes are just about like this one, maybe a little bit better, right? All of them, without skipping a beat. Would you say at the end of the season that this was a good season with this amount of filler versus good episodes, let's call it. This ratio, possibly.
I can't say. I mean, I can't say it's a bad season, but yeah, these. I'm looking at the episode list right now, so it's like what, three, maybe four that gave us these feels.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and see what I'm missing in those. You
Yeah.
know, like I did feel like last week was filler, but maybe there's something that happened along the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to write it off as this is simply what these guys were up to after Order 66,
Right.
but now it's actually turning into something,
Yes.
and they could have given it to us sooner or maybe less episodes. I mean, I'm
Agreed.
always like more the better on Star Wars, but then like the third episode and this episode were so good. You're like, man, why didn't you just give me this?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, so I mean, we are what? This is episode 11, right?
Yep.
And we've had, like you said, we've had, I would venture to say, 4 really good episodes on this. So that leaves us with 3 episodes that were either just filler or just, not that exciting, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's a tough ratio, right? Like,
And they could have started with episode 3.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
that that could have been the first one,
Yeah,
and then followed it up with number 1 because those first 2 weren't really.
exactly. Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know.
I like the callback, of Dooku and all that stuff. They visited his planet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed that part, but I was like, okay, you know what? This so in my mind, honestly, I was like, okay, they're following the formula we have followed, so that after this, we're just gonna go off into whatever season 2 is about.
Right.
But we didn't, right? We just kept coming back to the same stuff, same stuff. So I'm okay with episodes 1 and 2 if those would have been the only ones that follow the formula, right? Like the formulaic like layout of, hey, we got info from Sid, we go on a quest, we mess up the quest, and we barely make it alive with no money,
Right.
by the way.
Right.
We never get the loot.
No.
So yeah, so I agree. I'm hoping, like you said, I'm hoping that by the end of the season we can look back and be like, oh, okay, in this one episode that didn't seem like, it was very
Yeah.
important. Turns out this dude came
Yeah.
out,
There'll be
later
something to
on, right?
connect to it. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Something to sort of validate those episodes, right? That why they needed to be in. So you're right. We still got, a handful of episodes left in the season. I'm hoping all of those are bangers because this show needs it. Okay. If we have another 2-part, filler where we don't really go anywhere, I don't know, guys. I think I have to call it and say this season was just not that great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So
It does. It does have a 2-part finale.
yes, which
Yeah.
again I'm really hoping that they can pull up, the heat on
Yeah.
that. And we got Dave's Dimension in the house. What is going
What's
on,
up,
man?
Dave?
And Dave says Bad Batch needs to kick it up a notch. First season was straight fire compared to this. Hoping it picks up more. Haven't seen this episode. I'm okay with spoilers. Yeah, man, definitely go watch it. Okay, I think the general consensus here between Brett and myself is that this was a really good episode. So definitely go watch it because this actually opens up, the story as I was hoping other
Yeah.
episodes would
Yeah.
do. Home Dude says Mace Windu is alive. Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. He
It's
is.
gotta be. It's gotta be. We got the Legacy of Nerd in the house. What is going on, brother? Thanks for joining, man. Everybody saying hi. Appreciate that. Okay, so as we wind down this episode of the debrief, I want to thank my co-host today, Brett, for joining us here. And that actually, Brett, myself, and some other really awesome Star Wars content creators are planning to do a what would you call it, like a roundtable for the season finale of Bad Batch, right? We're
Yeah.
basically gonna be, sharing what we thought about the whole season, which will be done by that point. So this will be done towards the end of this month, or on the 30th
30th.
around there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so be on the lookout for that. If you haven't, definitely go check out Brett over of Collecting with Cool here on YouTube. But you also launched another channel, right? Want to tell us a little bit about that?
You know what? I already changed it.
Oh man,
Okay,
hardest
did you
working
know?
man right here, man.
So here's
Always
the thing.
moving.
So I was gonna do a gaming channel.
Yes.
So I already had the channel because it was like my name channel where I log in for my TV because I have the YouTube TV and stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was like, well, rather than start a whole nother channel.
Yeah.
I'll just put some content on here because I had a bunch of gaming content. So I throw it up on there, and I really wasn't getting back to it. And then in my membership streams, I've been playing games, and we're doing like watch parties, all kinds of cool stuff. And they added this new feature for podcasts.
Oh.
And you can, when you go to upload, and I don't think it's available for everybody yet, it's like in beta. When you are on a computer and you hit the little camera with the plus sign
Mm-hmm.
to upload,
To upload, yeah.
an optional drop down that says video podcast. And what happens is, if you and I record this and then upload it, you would tap uh, that feature, and it would create at the same time an audio only version. You wouldn't even have to
Oh,
rip it yourself.
interesting.
So whenever
Finally.
when I had when I had you on before,
Mm-hmm.
um, I made that into a podcast
Mm-hmm.
and put it in a playlist for podcasts, but then I didn't really do much with them. I wanted to kind of build it up. So
Sure.
now I think I have like 10 or 12 episodes. I think 5 or 6 different people chatted with me, and then I just did a few things on my own. And now that I saw that feature, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'll just try, I'll just throw it out there and try it.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
it's everything's worth a shot on this platform, man. From
Agreed.
I switched gears at the end of the year because I was a lot of time into a long video, and it's
Yeah.
not that poor me, I didn't get any views, because that's on me. I have to make good content to have people come watch, right? So
Right.
if you just look at the thumbnail, though, you don't know what it is till you click. So I have to be creative there to get people to click, right?
Sure.
So so coming into this year, I'm like, well, where am I seeing the most interaction with people? Because I feel like sometimes I'll put something out there and it's like a ghost town.
Sure. Yeah.
And
I've
and
been
then I
there.
started streaming more, started getting more active on Facebook groups, my own Facebook group, other people's Facebook groups. Everybody in the community is really helpful,
Yeah.
and that started to click for me to say, okay, I've already done podcasting, so I'm gonna do more streams that are kind of like that sort of layout, or I don't know, where I could turn it into audio. Because
Cool. Yeah.
some people would tell me, hey, I'm listening, I'm driving, I'm listening.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll just turn those conversations into an audio only. Well, this cuts down the work, because before I would have to rip that
Yes.
on my editing and
Right.
just put a slideshow or something,
Right.
and then send the MP3 off to a podcast server, all this stuff. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm
Right.
just going to stay on YouTube with it for now, but it'll be cool to have sort of a library of all my streams, all my
Yeah.
talks with people,
Very cool.
throw it over there as a clip, and then just let it do its thing. And I don't know, see what happens.
Yeah. There you go.
So
I mean,
yeah, so it was a gaming channel. Now it's a
now
podcast.
it's there you go. I like it,
Yeah,
man. That's
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I actually had not noticed that new feature. I'm gonna look it
yeah. I
up
just
now.
saw it a couple of days ago, and then today, Think Media had like a 6-minute video on it this morning,
Oh, interesting.
and they said it's already live. So you can go to
Okay.
youtube.com/podcasts, and it's got like Star Wars theories on there. Um, what was it? Logan Paul's got Impulsive. Just
Yes.
some of the bigger channels are on there
Sure.
already, so you can kind of see what to expect.
Oh,
And
interesting. Very interesting.
I think it's going to be, I think you could do it off of your channel, but it's like kind of when shorts first started, people were
Sure.
doing their own shorts channel, because I think it's completely segmented away from your content to be its own thing. Because they
Yeah.
said that right now YouTube has taken over as the #1 destination for podcasts.
Crazy.
I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a video podcast, and that's what Spotify's been doing, and everybody,
Right.
So
Right.
now they're taking it to a different level. They hired staff for it. They put a bunch of money into it, and you would just, like I said, you'd have your interview or do it live, send it up to this side of the platform, and then it automatically cuts the audio for you. And I don't know if you can connect Spotify or iTunes or whatever
Right.
to it,
Yeah,
but
and that
I'm
that may be
assuming you
coming,
could.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
if you can't do it today, that I'm sure they're
yeah,
already
yeah.
working on it for
Distribution like
sure.
that is one stop, like on Anchor and stuff like
Right.
that. So, but it's a lot of work too. So for me, this year is about killing more birds with less stones. To
Agreed.
say, in my live stream, I'm gonna say something about this item. You know, um, like I'm gonna showcase this, right, and
Nice.
I'm gonna talk all about him. He's not
Yeah.
the original. He's 83, but it's a 96 release or whatever.
Right.
And
Right.
then I can turn that into a video,
Sure. Yeah.
and I even have to I didn't have to stop, reset, do anything. Really, no editing, hardly. It's not lazy. It's just making more efficient
No, it's
use of.
efficient. Yeah, exactly. It's
And
efficiency.
then I'm not hiding out in my studio room, 6 nights a week, pissing off the
Yeah.
wife and stuff like
No,
that.
I hear you on
I,
that.
c- I can I can have one conversation a week and turn that into 7 days worth of content. Plus,
Right.
it takes me off the platform and gets me attention over on TikTok and
Yep.
Spotify and iTunes and everywhere else. And dude, on my break at work, sometimes I can create shorts,
Yeah.
y- you know,
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
play with what they give us.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's where, a lot of the experimentation comes in, right? Like,
Yep.
uh it's not everything is gonna be an absolute hit.
No.
But you won't know till you try it, right? I mean, you won't know what your audience reacts to better than your regular format videos, or like you said, your shorts, now
Yep. Yep.
podcasts. So by all means, right, it's definitely the right approach, I think. And I would never call that lazy. I just call that more efficient, right? You're being
Yeah.
smarter.
Yeah.
The old say, right? Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So very, very cool, guys. Once again, definitely go check out Brett over on Collecting with Cool. Awesome, creator. He's got, like he mentioned, a really cool Facebook group. Go check that out as well. He's over on Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere, every social media. You can find him Collecting with Cool. Cool 2NO over on Instagram. If you want to just look him up like that. And so definitely go check him out. Thank you so much for joining us here for the debrief. And I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one that still is watching Bad Batch,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like I said,
Yeah.
this week people seem to have forgotten about it, and unfortunately, it was actually a really good episode. So
I kind of did
I,
forget about it because
yeah,
I watched Mandalorian early in the
yeah,
morning, and
yeah,
then I waited till the evening to watch Bad
Bad
Batch.
Batch.
But
Yeah, there you go. I don't
yeah,
blame you, man. Um, So yeah, absolutely. We got Joe in the house. What is going on, man? Thank you so much for joining
what's
us.
up,
We are
Joe?
just about to say bye here. He says YouTube adding podcasts to YouTube Music will be great for content. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would make perfect sense. Absolutely. And he
And
says
a lot of people may not even think of themselves as a podcaster, but
exactly.
but
Very
you
true.
can simply take the conversation you have, even
Yeah.
if it's just you
Yeah.
talking to your chatters and talking about some prepared things.
Yep.
Just record it. Like if you have OBS, which is free. If you have
Yeah.
StreamYard, free. You can use OBS to record your screen, and then just rip that as audio.
Exactly.
You can go out on the web and there's free editors that'll rip that into
Yeah.
convert it like
Into an MP3 or.
cloudconvert.com or something like
Hmm.
that, and they'll make an MP3, and then you just send it over to that side of the platform
Yeah.
as a, as a,
Absolutely.
as another upload or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just reuse your content, man.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely
Definitely.
have to play it smarter. Like you
Yeah.
said, especially when not trying to consume your whole life into this kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? Unless that's what you want to do, then by all means. But I'm just saying, you can have a good balance
Yeah.
between creating content and the rest of your life. He said, LeBron says, I need to stream more. Yeah, man, you do. You've been streaming. So LeBron has been streaming his gaming, actually,
Right.
for Jedi Fallen Order. Sorry.
Yeah.
Joe says CapCut is a great podcast tool and it's free. There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you know, he can stream 3 nights a week and do a podcast one night a week where he just talks
Exactly.
to some buddies about gaming
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or anything
Absolutely.
he's into. So it,
Yeah.
it's I think that not necessarily podcasts are fading away, but the video podcast I think is coming up because that's really what we're doing
Yep.
when we
Agree.
when we're interacting with each other. It's the same thing,
Right.
because in 2020, when I was talking to people, it was always on Zoom.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
talking to guys in California, guys out east in the
Right.
East Coast, and it was always on Zoom, and then you record it and put it on your YouTube video or live. That's what it is. It's a
Yeah.
conversation. It's a podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So finally, it seems like the platform is embracing that and giving us the right tools to do it.
Yeah,
So that's exciting. That's good, and that
yeah,
is definitely another avenue for your content to get out there, right? So definitely
right.
check that
Yeah,
out. All right, troopers. I think we're gonna call it a day here. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you guys have an awesome weekend. Go watch this episode of Bad Batch, please. Okay, give it some love. It deserves to get good ratings. It deserves to get the views. All right, this one does. Okay. A little bit of housekeeping. We do have a new show here on the channel on General Economics Bunker, which is called the Grogu Gap. So you can Phil and myself are taking a look at the episode for Mandalorian and sort of going through it like we just did and getting our thoughts out there. So we just dropped the first episode earlier today in the channel. Appreciate it if you go check that out. Let us know if we missed anything, and let us know, what you think of the new format. So once again, thank you for joining us here. Go watch Bad Batch, okay, guys? And remember, we still got about 5 episodes left this season. They're gonna be coming out every Wednesday, along with the Mandalorian. Okay, so you can do a double feature every Wednesday if you want.
That's right.
Yeah. So once again, guys, go check out Brett over at Collectively Cool here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and everything else. So thank you so much once again for joining us. Have a good weekend, guys. Okay, get some rest, get some good food, get some
See
Star
you.
Wars. All
Yep.
right. May the force be with you.